I just feel bad for the American protest movement. How about all those activists who traded in their signs for George Floyd, to BLM, to Palestine, then they had their climate change signs. Now they have to figure out what's next. You can't do trans, that's over. You can't do climate, no one cares. No more BLM, it's a fraud. I guess you could start with banning ICE. That might be something new. Maybe bacteria rights. We haven't gotten that far yet. I remember the early days when people used to accuse Trump of being a mafia don as though that were an insult. It's actually true. He is a mafia don, and that's a compliment. What does a mob boss do? He creates a distinction between pleasing him and displeasing him. If you're a mafia don, he might kiss you twice on the cheeks, or he might cut your pinky off. And if people find out that it's just not worth the trouble with Trump, who is relentless, to piss him off, right? This is how I run my staff. It's like, no point in disagreeing with me. I'll make your life hell. And that's kind of what he does, because he won't quit. And that's the comparison. There is something to be said about comparing him to Kamala and Biden. Kamala was about fear. She was terrified of her own shadow. She was scared of actually doing anything. Biden didn't care. He just liked to wear the jacket and the aviators. The other interesting thing about a mafia don is that their primary job is to keep the peace. But in order to keep the peace, you also have to express a glimmer of specific violence when necessary. And Trump had that too with Soleimani, the Iran facilities, the pirates. I'm probably leaving something out.
Midnight Hammer.
Midnight Hammer. That was my nickname in college, Emily. Oh, and also the cartels. The cartels. Whether you are a contractor or a mob boss, you also need clientele. You need a track record. And Trump had been building the track record all this time, unlike any president, with the Abraham Accords, the half dozen peace treaties, and what do you call them, truce deals. So if you thought this was impossible, you at least thought, well, maybe if it is possible, this guy seems like he's been down this road, he's done it before. I don't think it's an understatement to say that he's the greatest president we have ever had.
And I think he is. But the other thing is, so these hostages are expected to be released, Emily, on Monday or Tuesday. Now, Israel also has to give something up. They're basically emptying out their prisons of convicted terrorists, and they have to swallow that. And we also need to brace ourselves for the condition of hopefully the 20 remaining alive. Some of them might not be able to be seen because they are in such bad shape. So we have to brace ourselves for that. And I really admire President Trump for saying, okay, I'll drop right now, and I will fly over there. I will be there to sign this, and maybe even to greet them.
I spoke with some of my friends in Israel today, and of all of their comments and thoughts on the future and a sort of cautionary celebration and everything, nothing comes close to their jubilation over the hostages being returned. And so their considerations of potential future violence and the X's and O's of the remaining 19 points, everything that they feel is toward bringing their own home. And we'll take care of them, and those that need those help and those that are in those horrific states only underscores what an evil entity Hamas is. And, for all of this celebration, rightly so, we talked about the media, how they're distorting it. But you know who's conspicuously absent from the celebration? Are, weirdly, all of those Democratic lawmakers that have for 2 years been shouting about and holding signs up about and protesting on the grounds of Capitol Hill about a ceasefire. Rashida Tlaib and Delia Ramirez and Pramila Jayapal, Betty McCollum, AOC, silent today. Zero statements on this historic day. And then there's the yes but crew, which, look, I understand that getting, the future might be harder. The future will require work, but I think today there can be a yes and so we have the yes buts, Hakeem and Ilhan Omar, and they're always going to be crying about genocide and how that's shaped. But for those people who have said that our president is an autocrat and an isolationist, today I hope proves them wrong too, because we heard today in that cabinet meeting just how much he leveraged his existing relationships, how much authority he invested in his team to carry this out. He is not there bombastically beating down doors. He's actually negotiating with grace and with dignity and leveraging that dignity to his members, to his phenomenal team, so that we Americans can benefit from that. And I think as the Secretary of State said, it's a geopolitical win, of course, but it's a human story. And everything points to that moment when those hostages are returned home. And final quick quote about today, which is, after so much pain, destruction, and loss of life, today the guns in Gaza have gone silent. You know who said that? President Biden. Well, guess what, President Biden? Now President Trump made that statement true.
All right, you guys, did you hear this breaking news as well?